You too can be cool.
Hang around me long enough.
You know what? That's probably true.
I mean, there's bragging and then there's just the truth.
Yeah. And this is the hard truths.
What a segue. Welcome to the hard truth. I'm keeping that in there. Welcome to the hard truths with Denver Biddle III and your second co-host, Steve Traub.
What's up, everybody?
Today, if I have my papers right, today is episode 10 in our mini-series.
Episode 7.
7?
Yes.
Oh.
We just have...
It says episode. Got you. All right. Messed up. Scratch that. Anyway, episode 7 of the mini-series, where we are taking people who are green, completely new to real estate investing, specifically the fix and flip strategy, and running through the entire process from, identifying a property, funding your deal, and securing a loan to ultimately getting to the closing table and all that good stuff, marketing your property, and which is what we're going to talk about right now. And then, getting that final lump sum payment. So, so we're talking marketing your property, right? So we've talked about everything from, again, acquiring the property, finding the property, acquiring the property, the ramifications that go into that, specifically the loan terms and just things to consider, things to expect during that process. But you've got the property. It's all fixed up and everything. It looks great. And now it's time to sell it. So where do we want to start?
Well, let's start with some of the basics. Really why marketing matters for your property and some things to think about, to help ensure that you do have a fast and quick sale. At the end of the day, you don't want to be incurring extra costs on these properties. So it's important to be prepared for the sale, understand, what goes into the marketing to attract buyers, and ultimately make your profit when that property sells. So, let's just talk about what I consider some basics. And a lot of these you're going to be like, yeah, of course. But again, just want to go over these things to make sure that you're evaluating all the questions, understanding the ramifications of some decisions you're going to make regarding marketing your property, who you choose to work with or not work with, so on and so forth. So,
all right.
A well-marketed property is going to attract more buyers, ultimately creating more competition. The more competition there is, ideally, the higher your offers would be. So I'm going to use the open house example. If you go to an open house, say it's from 12 to 1, just for the sake of our conversation, you show up smack dab in the middle at 12:30, there's nobody else at that property, you're going to be like, cool, not a lot of demand based on this open house, assuming that property just hit the market, let's say.
Right.
If you go to that open house and there's 15 other groups of people there, you're going to think, oh shit, this is a valuable property. There's likely going to be offers. Is my offer going to be competitive enough to stand out from the rest of the crowd? Knowing your numbers, knowing what you can offer. But again, you're going to create that competition and ultimately, hopefully make more of a profit. So the flip side of that is what's going to deter people from looking at your properties. Like you and I just talked about this a little bit, but bad photos.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than you listing your property with blurry photos that are sideways, upside down.
What are we doing?
Don't make sense. Your photos is the first, look that somebody has at your property. Agent's going to send Denver, a list of properties. Hey, dude, check out these photos. This place is awesome. Are you going to skip the property that has the shitty photos?
Of course.
And it's like, you're not even going to have a chance to have people walk through your house because the photos may not even do the property justice. But again, have professional photos. And some other things to, keep in mind too, is that marketing, and we're going to get into this a little further, but are you on MLS? So are you being broadcast to all of the agents who have auto searches set up for their potential clients? Or are you just going to sell it off market and try to do your own marketing? Or you do a for sale by owner, use one of the online websites, never hits MLS or MLS. That's a problem, right?
Yeah.
So something else to consider, just because we all love stats, or at least I'm just going to speak for us collectively.
We like
stats. Yeah. Okay. But in 2023, homes that sold within the first 2 weeks of their listing achieved 98% of their asking price on average. So you list it for 100K, 98% is 98,000. So if you get an offer in the first 2 weeks, likely it's going to be hopefully pretty close to that, assuming it's priced correctly. 91% of the asking price for houses that are listed for over 90 days. And just like asking you,
still pretty decent. I think, though,
I mean, it's great, right? It's $9, 90 cents on your dollar, however you want to view it.
Does that make so? Because I haven't purchased a house yet or even been in that world, but I'll go on Zillow from time to time and I'll see price drops I'll see some massive ones. Like, well, to me, massive is like 25K, you know what I mean? But like more often than not, I'm seeing probably like really no more than like 5K price drops in most properties. Like, is that huge? Like, I know from like the marketing world, right? Like, a $4 price sticker looks worse than $3.99. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I guess in terms, I don't know, like what ramifications does it have for the buyer and seller at 300 to 400K per, unit or whatever? Like, how big of a difference is that in like maybe your monthly payment or I don't know, whatever?
Yeah. I'll answer that question too, but let me just ask you this, like how much on average, so the house that got dropped 5K, like what is the average asking price of those houses, would you say?
Probably like in the low 300s. I think.
Sure. So like, let's just call it 1.5% drop, right? So I'd say to consider it like that, because 50K on a $300,000 house is a huge chunk,
right? Yeah.
Versus $3,000 on a $100,000 house or whatever that price drop is. So important to kind of keep that in consideration. And this is as a really general blanket statement. We're just going to use easy numbers, but every $1,000 that the property you're buying goes up or down as a buyer is probably a difference of like $10 in your monthly payment. So just kind of keep that in mind. I come from the traditional lending world, and used to have this conversation, like $1,000 is $10. Like, is that $10? Like, can you skip Starbucks once a month for this house? Like, what does that look like for you? Usually it's not a big adjustment. It's like $40. It's like, I'll figure it out. Certainly going up $10,000, $100, that affects everyone's budget a little bit different. So just something to keep in mind. So that will affect it, but I don't feel like the $5,000 example on a $300,000 house is a huge amount. Maybe that property got listed a little bit higher or, something like that. They kind of wanted to aim for, shoot for the moon, and hope you land somewhere. So maybe that was the situation, or vice versa, is they're trying to incur more traffic. Like we just talked about, you have a certain budget in mind for a monthly payment. I'm comfortable with $2,000 a month, right? Right. Whatever that number is. So when you have that, the $5,000 is $50 more a month based on what we just talked about. Like, what if you don't qualify at 305, but you qualify at 300? So that could potentially bring more buyers in, right? If it's coming down 50K, it's like, is the seller moving out of state? They just need to get rid of it. What's the situation? And keeping in mind, holding costs exist for everyone in real estate. So the seller, is going to have more costs when they don't sell the property in the first 2 weeks, much like you will when you do a hard money loan. Hey, it's going to be a month. Well, now you have another monthly payment. Did you bake that into your timeline? So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, beautiful. So again, just, those are just some stats we had talked about. And then when you're positioning your property for success, marketing isn't just advertising. It's about creating the narrative that you're showcasing that property's maximum potential and appealing to the people who you feel like you designed this house for. I'm going to give you an example. Let's talk about like your property description, right? We'll get a little more into this later, but if you are trying to appeal to new families, right? They have, just say you picture them in your mind, they've got a 3-year-old and a newborn, and it's 2 blocks from a park. It's like local, very closely, situated to local park, very close to, elementary school. You're trying to kind of highlight things with not only your house, maybe like a fenced in yard, playroom in the basement, whatever that situation is, but you're trying to kind of position yourself towards that family that you think that you're going to appeal to, or person. It doesn't have to necessarily be a family. So it's really in your description and kind of what you're trying to highlight, which we will get into. But just something to think about. Are you presenting your property in the best way that you're highlighting the features that you feel like are the best features for who you're trying to appeal to? Then the next piece is going to be pricing that property. So not only is overpricing going to deter buyers, right? It's a higher payment for people. Maybe it's a comfort level for a payment. Maybe they don't qualify. So those are kind of two ways you're going to deter them. But if you're underpricing a property, on the flip side, what if you're leaving money on the table? It is important to work with somebody who's going to give you honest feedback about comparable sales and help you position yourself when you're pricing that property to price it the best way you know how, and they feel confident in whatever price they're giving you if they're your real estate agent. Something to keep in mind, again, we're going to go into that real estate agent, but Allison and I had a property in Neenah. Because I was, in the world of real estate. So I had just had a conversation with a realtor, a good friend of mine who ended up listing it. Shout out Andrew. I said, hey, I think this house is worth $200K. And he had asked me, what do you think it's worth? And he's like, I'm actually going to list it for $214,900. Right. We got an offer for $240,000. And it was like, holy shit. Nice. If I would have not taken someone's professional opinion, would we have still gotten $240,000? Maybe. Probably not, because it's not as much competition. He held an open house. The open house was busy. He did a lot of things to help us, but us positioning ourselves and pricing that property correctly for the time of the sale, was in the beginning of the fall, but we priced ourselves correctly and we're able to what I view as getting maximum dollar versus me not taking his advice. Maybe I just jump on, it's worth $200,000. I did my own research and I'm leaving $15K on the table. That's real money. And a good realtor, a real estate agent, will earn their commission, straight up. Hey, I'll gladly pay you $5,000 to make 15 grand. Who wouldn't sign up for that? So it's great, and then we had talked about using comparable comps. Denver, you and I were looking on a website called Investor Lift, and we had noticed there's a property that's, centrally located in the city of Milwaukee. When they were pricing out that property and they were putting forth the asking price, they were using comps that were nearly a mile away.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No. And it's if you're not using comps that are related to the area you are selling the house, 1 mile is not that far distance wise. It's a hell of a difference depending on which direction you go from whatever your location is potentially. So making sure that you're using comparable sales that are actually comparable sales. Again, that professional, whether it's you, a real estate agent, whoever it is, going to help give you that advice to make sure you're using correct comps. Mm-hmm. And then let's talk about considering market trends. 2.5 years ago, if you wanted a house, you were bidding more than asking price. No home inspection, no appraisal, no contingencies, right? That's certainly a different time than what we're looking at outside right now. It's 15 degrees outside. Right? Rates are 7% for the sake of our conversation. They're 7%. Yeah. It's going to be a different market. Are you priced accordingly? Not only are rates different, but are people going to want to move in winter versus summer? Think about this, Denver. If you have kids, that are in a certain school district, right? And you need to move 20 minutes west for whatever the situation is, you just really want to move. Are you going to pull your kids out in the middle of the school year? Ideally?
No.
And then also, do you want to drive your kids for 6 months, 20 minutes to school? Probably not. So keeping in mind that, considering the time of year, again, if you're trying to appeal to people that want to move to an area with whatever the situation is, school district that they feel is better, or whatever their motives are, is it a good time for them to move? Yes or no? And we talked about getting a professional's opinion. I don't need to plug them anymore. Just listen to people that you know and trust. That's all I'm going to say. And then, have you factored in local market conditions, right? So what is the closest market around your property telling you? Not, real estate's really great in ABC County. Well, what's it like in the part of the city that you're in? Something to consider. So just please keep that in mind moving forward. And then you want to get into kind of prepping your property for listing it?
Yeah.
Why not?
Of course.
So just a few kind of quick overviews. And some of these are just maybe our opinions, but we've seen these, we've listed houses, sold houses, bought houses. So something to consider.
Expert opinions.
Well, as best we can be, right? But you want a stage to impress whoever is walking through that property. So the idea is I walk into your house you have listed. I can literally see myself in your house. Maybe your furniture sucks, but I can see myself in your property. You know, I can see my family there around the Christmas tree. I can see me hosting friends on the patio, whatever that situation is, you know, and how do you do that? You focus on neutral decor. You don't need a lime green couch. What if they hate lime green and you instantly ruin the room? Same thing with paint. Please don't paint a room black. Take down your personal photos, if there are personal photos. Hey, this is some other family's house. I already know that, right? But it's like, take down your photos. Allow me to see myself in this property, right? If you have a great backyard, you know, consider having a fire pit, whatever the situation is, like paint the picture for these clients that are going to come and buy these. Fun fact, stage homes sell 88% faster and for 20% more than non-staged vacant homes. One more time, stage homes 88% faster and 20% more on average than a non-staged home.
Sheesh.
Spend your money, get the house staged, like work with someone that can help you make this property look great. We talk about Justin all the time. He's one of the good ones. We walked through his property. It was staged. It was like ready to go. You could see yourself in it. Here's a couch, you know, here's the basin where we're gonna be hanging out. Maybe there's a TV, you know, mounted or whatever the situation is, you know, take some time and try to impress these people that are walking through. We talked about the high quality photos and videos, right? Just nothing worse than bad photos.
It's bad.
Give me bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's just, I mean, there's a lot of different. So I bring it back to, you know, maybe you're not in the real estate investing space quite yet, but you're very familiar with selling things on Facebook Marketplace, for example.
Yeah.
Photos is everything, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, whether it's using like stock photos versus just like really high quality photos that you actually took versus like, again, the blurry, crappy, low light photos, like it makes all the difference.
100%. You know, and you're a guy that posts on social media. Obviously for us, you're doing these videos, right? You do a great job. It's like you spend time thinking about what does this look like before you post it, you know, like within reason, but like, am I putting our best foot forward as best as possible with the amount of time I have? Hopefully that answer is yes. You know, and just something to keep in mind is listings with professional photos get 118% more views online than the ones without it. So you're talking 12 to 10, right? So like 1.2 buyers for every one buyer on the one that doesn't have professional photos. Man. We've seriously seen some photos and you're just like, this can't be real. You know,
like you're not this. No wonder it's still on the market.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, like I can't see myself living in this closet, you know, or whatever it is. You know, and then if you'd like to, you know, maybe use some before and after photos to just kind of demonstrate some of the changes you've made. I don't know that I'm going to post it with like a falling in ceiling, right? But if there's a bathroom that's outdated, you've updated the bathroom, like maybe showing some of the stuff that you've done, kind of highlighting again, some of the features and what you're hopefully using to try to impress a buyer. And then just a couple of things to keep in mind. How is your property standing out from the competition? My photos suck. Your photos are great. Good job. You'll get more people. It's very simple.
Very simple.
And then how are you showcasing those upgrades that you do to add value? You know, we walked through a couple of houses here a few months ago, and some of the upgrades they did, they literally had listed. And it's like new roof 2022 or whatever the situation is. Again, help them see themselves in that house and just take away a little bit of some of the worry. Like this does have a new roof. It is a 30-year shingle. Now, that doesn't always mean it lasts for 30 years, but it lasts a hell of a lot longer than an older roof. We can all agree on that. So just something to, you know, keep in mind as you're moving forward.
Yeah, and it gives them an opportunity to, I mean, not necessarily like budget or kind of, but just plan for future maintenance. I know, like, again, bringing it back to Facebook Marketplace, like I'm kind of passively looking for cars right now. So I appreciate it when I see seller notes, people are talking about, oh, these are the recent maintenance items that have been done on the vehicle. So it's like, all right, cool. I know every used car needs something, but I can at least, for the most part, count on these things to not show up when I take it to the, you know, to the
person doing
mechanic.
The
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I think that's a really good point because it's a difference of, you know, a car with old tires and old brakes. It's like, I'm into this for $2,000 right off the bat.
Right.
Versus the peace of mind of being like, yeah, maybe something breaks in 2 months, but like, at least I'm good for a little bit. So same thing with houses, man. That's an awesome example. All right. And then let's just talk about kind of leveraging some of your marketing channels. Zillow, realtor.com, MLS we had talked about, which is where realtors are going to go and search. 97% of home buyers start their search online.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But like, it's at the same time when you're doing, you just said, right? You're on Facebook Marketplace looking for your new car. You're not sitting here driving around, going to different dealerships.
Yeah. Way too much time. Who does that?
Exactly. So make sure that you're online. And then, there's social media marketing.
Boom.
Denver is an absolute guru in this. So he'll be able to kind of help you if you have questions, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
What do you need?
What's that?
I was gonna say, yeah, what do you need?
Yeah,
Got you.
He's got you. All right. But, sharing that property on Facebook, like, for example, we own a Wisconsin for sale/rent Facebook group for properties. There's 7,000 members. Posting that property in that group, maybe somebody is looking for a new property in Milwaukee or Sheboygan or wherever it is here in Wisconsin, but utilizing your network there, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can use targeted ads. You can encourage your friends and followers to share your listing, right? So if I'm trying to sell a car, I don't know you. Maybe Joe Smith is our mutual friend. I asked Joe to share it. Joe shares it. You find the car. It's like, use your network and the people that want to see you be successful, us included. We had a client send us his listing for his property. It's like, I'll post this for you. No problem. I'm as excited as you are for this project you just completed. So, using social media again, and then open houses and local marketing, signs, flyers, local networks, trying to just generate that interest. And just one thing I want you to think about when you're listing that property and you're leveraging your marketing is, are you using all the available channels to market your property? Bare basics, the more eyeballs on your house, the more interest you're going to have, the more views you're going to generate, right?
Keep talking.
The more things that you're just sitting there working through. The next piece of this entire piece is just negotiating with your buyers. This is where a real estate agent is going to be extremely helpful for you and them kind of helping you understand what an offer is, what type of financing is it, understanding your negotiation process for what's in your market. Decide ahead of time, what's the lowest offer you're willing to accept. We just talked about, a property for $300,000 getting dropped $5,000. Maybe my bare bones minimum is $290. Not accepting that offer for $275, dropping that property to $295 from $300. Maybe I generate a couple of offers a little bit closer to that $390 mark. So, just because you're sitting on the market doesn't mean you should just accept the first or second offer that comes through. 75% of all sellers accept the first or second offer they receive. Thoughtful negotiation can often result in better terms. So example, again, one buyer is buying a property FHA. Let's say they close in 30 days. They offer you $5,000 more than any of the other offers that you have. So you're like, well, shoot, it's my second offer. I'm probably not getting any more. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. No problem. What if a conventional offer or cash offer is going to come through to you here in the next 5 days if you had just waited? What if you countered that FHA buyer and said, hey, can you look at getting into conventional financing? Reason being, different lending has different timeframes on which they can and cannot purchase your home. Again, a good real estate agent, a good partner is going to explain those differences to you. Tell you, you know what? Listen, we shot for the moon. This offer is 95% of whatever we offered. Denver, I feel like you should take it. You know what I'm saying? So just one of those, things to keep in mind. And then just a couple of other pieces that we just want to kind of talk about involving some of the pitfalls, for marketing. Neglecting your presentation. Again, poor photos go a long way. Cluttered spaces. Like, you can't even walk in this room. There's so much stuff in it. It's like, it's going to be hard for me to picture myself when all I picture is how you didn't clean up after yourself, leaving construction debris on the property. Laundry, like, you name it. Ideally, most of these houses are vacant, but you never know. But again, just like neglecting your presentation. So invest in your staging, professional visuals. So when a client walks in, again, they can picture themselves there. Overpricing the property. Hey, I'm just not going to pay what you're asking. I'll just wait. You can sit on the market for 90 days. We talked about it. You're going to get 91% of your offer. So if you want to sit there and wait, fine. If you're waiting, it's like, what are your holding costs? How much is this property going to cost me as the seller for another 2 months before I close?
So that 91% is probably lower if you factor in holding costs.
I like to think it is. Yeah. And again, you need to know your numbers, know what your bare bones minimum is so you can still make money that you're comfortable with. Right. And if, listing doesn't pay off for whatever reason, maybe you're going to refinance, you're going to rent the property out for 6 months, be creative, be willing to adjust as needed. And then ignoring your feedback. So when a client walks through your property and they say, hey, listen, like everything's great. You got a pile of trash behind the house because your contractors just left all these boxes and garbage there. Like you got to clean it up. You don't clean it up. Like the next buyer may not say something, but they're probably going to notice the pile of trash. It's like, what if you just took some time to, accept that feedback, and take measures to prevent someone else from feeling that way. Hey, I hate your lime green couch. It's like, take your damn lime green couch out of the property.
Have you seen a lime green couch recently?
I have. Yeah, okay. I have. I keep getting advertisements for it. I don't know what it is, but I think they know that I don't like it. But no, in all seriousness, it's like, I know you love the color yellow. Please don't paint your kitchen yellow. Like I hate yellow. Yeah. Or whatever the situation is. So like listen to your feedback, adjust your strategy based on that feedback from your showings. I'll give you an example for me. Besides the lime green couch, I had a property in Appleton I bought. It needed some foundation issues. I actually didn't know that until I listed the property. But it needed some foundation issues. Like I had a lot of really good quality feedback, probably 40 showings. I had 2 offers and like half of the feedback was, hey, your basement needs whatever, this foundation work. And it was like, sure as shit. The accepted offer I got had a home inspection. The inspector came back, said, hey, you need braces, which is not a big deal. Cost $5,000. But if I would have ignored that feedback, right, it's like it still came back. It was still part of my problem in the future. So let's say that property doesn't sell. I don't get an accepted offer. What if I just go and take care of that basement ahead of time? Spend $5K. You know what? What basement problems? Like, let's go ahead and relist this or get this back on the market. Again, just something to keep in mind. And we talk about real life examples, all the time. At the end of the day, don't overprice your property. Pay attention to the small details. Consult with somebody that you know and trust if you feel like the questions are over your head. Just be reasonable. Accept feedback. Like allow constructive criticism. This is a learning process. This is your first flip. You're not going to be a professional. We are just literally trying to save you from some of the pitfalls that we watch people do every single day across the board with these properties. So please do your homework, reach out to whoever it is that you trust, and just know what you're getting into and know your numbers. Just a few things that I want you to think about as you take that away, besides what we just talked about, is what marketing channels you're going to prioritize. How are you going to pick a partner? Like if you're going to pick a real estate agent, what is important to you? What are you going to look for? Maybe you interview 2 or 3 versus just picking one. Ask your friends for referrals for them. And then how are they and you going to ensure that your listing stands out online in a positive manner?
Well, yeah.
As we know now, right? No lime green couches. But no, in all seriousness, like how are you going to stand out from the property that you don't know is going to get listed the same day, right?
This is funny because my dream car combo is like lime green.
Listen, dude, I'm talking couch, man. I mean, these are flips, Denver. You can do whatever you want on your personal house. Yeah. Are you really getting
microphone?
Dude, the lime green here is nice. I like the orange. Like I would probably go for an orange couch. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just not going to put it in my flip.
I understand.
Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, how are you going to ensure that you stand out online? And then what's your strategy for responding to buyer feedback? Or how are you going to adjust your approach if that happens? The real estate agent, hey, every single piece of feedback came back. This house is overpriced. Here's why. Yeah, okay, no problem. Like maybe we shot for the moon, or maybe your realtor didn't have a great grasp on the market and maybe they gave you bad advice. Like either one of those, what's your strategy going to be if you do get that feedback? Ideally, you wouldn't.
Yeah, at some point in life, everybody has to take a slice of humble pie.
Absolutely. And, there's nothing wrong with that. No one is perfect. So we don't expect you to be perfect. We're, again, just trying to help you solve your problems before they become problems as best as possible.
That bad. Like it's not,
No, absolutely. And we've all made mistakes. It is what it is. So anyways, just make sure that you're ready. You're adjustable. You're willing to listen to the people around you, and hopefully, combination of those will help you be successful when you're marketing the property.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to talk about next episode, and then you can go ahead and get us signed off here if that works for you.
I mean, what if it didn't?
Then I guess I'll sign us off.
You want to give it a stab?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Yeah, episode 7.
Thanks, Steve.
We're turning over a new leaf. So, okay, conclusion for our episode here. What we're going to talk about on the next one is just the next episode is going to be closing your deal, how to navigate your closing process, how to avoid common mistakes that are involved in your closing, and how to finalize your sales successfully. All right. He is my co-host. I get to say now, right?
Yeah.
He's my co-host, Denver Biddle III. I am Steve Traub. Please, if you guys have any questions on any of the stuff that we've covered here, any of the other episodes, feel free to DM us, comment on the videos. We appreciate your feedback, like I said. So constructive, non-constructive, whatever it is, hit us with it. And please make sure to follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Everything.
Everything.
IG, Facebook.
All of it at The Hard Money Co.
The Hard Money Co.
I love it. All right. And thank you for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week. I hope you all have a great Christmas.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas. See ya.